I am the same person from the novel, The Dragon God. After this story came to its logical conclusion, I long to die. My only desire is to return to my true world as soon as possible. But when I finally lost the will to live, those who used to help me, they came back to beg me to stop. They asked me not to die, not to leave, but I no longer want anything to do with them. I failed to become the ideal character in the plot of Dragon God. I want to fix all this, because she was never able to win her master's love, which led her to commit suicide, and even after that she continued to cling to him. Leave our engagement banquet as soon as the guests disperse. I climbed onto the roof of the Liu family's house. The system kept repeating in my head, "You will disappear once this body is destroyed." Can I finally go home? After receiving confirmation from the system, I took a step toward the edge, toward the blue void. I met it only for a moment. Later, I realized I was exactly as the rumors described me. After being branded a mean and obnoxious person, all I could do was defend myself. At the engagement banquet for me and my fiancé, Rong Yi was kidnapped. He led away all the guests, including my fiancé, Liu Yanyan. Before leaving, he grabbed my wrist tightly and warned me with a stern look not to dare interfere. He promised never to leave after that. For the first time, he chose Rong Yi over me. The system deemed me a loser. This whole love story was a farce. The so-called savior was simply an arrogant violator, just like the system itself. Come to think of it, I can't help but look at Bai Ningbing. I don't understand why you're still here. You better mind your own business. I said this slowly. I can't catch your man, and there was always a deeper meaning to this kidnapping. Self-destruction is my only path to freedom. Today is my wedding with Liu Ruyan. When everyone's here, will Rongyi show up? Maybe it's because I've never been treated like a human being. Bai Ningbing looks upset. What do you mean by that? I've already turned away. Stop looking at the cards. Now that the strategy has failed, I no longer have the strength to remain in this world. My only piece of luck is that the system has confirmed that I did everything possible in completing the task and has approved my request for a free pass home. Within the allotted time, I can avoid complete erasure. It's just that my body in the original world has been in severe pain for a long time, remembering the way my parents looked at me before I disappeared. My heart fills with tenderness. I grit my teeth and quicken my steps toward the railing. Zia, what are you doing? The closer I got to the fence, the quieter the voices of the tourists behind me became. I felt a slight rush of adrenaline. But this trick won't work on Liu Jiang. You knew it from the start. Besides, you've made so many mistakes, even if you die today. You can't compare to Brother Long. Bai Ningbing's voice sounds so sweet. It was only because of him that I glanced back for a moment. Under the bright lights of the city, the world before me expands endlessly. Yifeng called me, but he can't break my heart. I'm going home, to my parents and friends, to all the hurts and regrets of these years. The skills remain with me just a little. I involuntarily close my eyes. The sensation of falling stops. My arm is tugged. The pain in the muscle brings me back to reality. I opened my eyes and saw that half of my body was hanging over the fence. Bai Ningbing grabbed my arm. Let go! I looked at her. She was shocked, her gaze filled with anger. Zia, you win this time. You're pretending to be a saint, but it won't change anything. Let me go. I don't want to hear the name Liu Ruyan anymore. I started shaking. Bai Ningbing, without thinking, grabbed me and tried to pull me back. Luckily, some of the clothing got caught on the fence. At that moment, I resisted, and she couldn't take it anymore. She screamed, "Don't move, you're going to break." Seeing that I wasn't listening to her, Bai Ningbing sighed in despair. She kissed me tenderly. I won't let you die. Do you want me to fall after you? Brother Zia, stop acting stupid. She lived in my house when I was trying to survive in this world. At that time, I called her Bai Ningbing. She was dear to me because she became the only person close to me here. She loved me too. Now I raise my head. I look into her eyes as if they were distant stars. She looks at me too. Her calm gaze was filled with expectation. She was waiting for my answer. When I thought about it, I laughed at my own stupidity. I laughed too. Looking her straight in the eyes, I said, "Whether you're alive or dead, what business is it of mine?" The blood instantly drained from the girl's face. She seemed unable to comprehend my words. Bai Ningbing looked me straight in the eyes. The grip of her hands began to loosen. Suddenly, my heart skipped a beat. I saw her fingers almost unclench. Suddenly, a scream came from the side. People around her screamed for help in terror. Bai Ningbing woke up from her trance. She grabbed me again. She looked at her almost free palms, and deep confusion was visible in her eyes. After we were rescued, there was an oppressive silence. I tried to take advantage of the moment. Right after the incident with the barrier, Bai Ningbing pushed the crowd aside and in front of everyone, she tightly grabbed my wrist. "Brother Wrong's case isn't closed yet. You're the prime suspect. I have to keep an eye on you." Her eyes turned red and she couldn't hide her emotions. When she realized I was looking at her, she got angry and turned away. At some point, I noticed a fleeting look of sadness on her face. "What's so sad about that?" I chuckled to myself. Bai Ningbing was once the only daughter in the White family, but her parents abandoned her for business. The girl cried, wandered the streets, endured bullying, ran away from angry dogs, and eventually hid in a trash can. She spent those 7 months in the stench of insects. She would rather endure that smell than let go of those memories. There were only a few people in that group. While the rats and cockroaches waited their turn, the only thing she did was call me into the school and lead me through the main entrance. Later, I took her from that trash can, tidied her up, and changed her old, torn clothes for new ones. I was only 12 years old then. I was an orphan and managed to provide for the two of us. I was born in Sichuan province. At that time, I wasn't a king. I didn't remember who attacked me, and I didn't have any golden fingers or superpowers to make Bai Ningbing. To feed us with books and food, I collected trash on the streets every day. Every weekend, I worked part-time at a small restaurant, helping wash dishes. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel that my 18-year-old colleagues did. My pay was significantly lower than everyone else's. I was paid only 2 cents for washing 4 dishes. How many dishes could I wash in a day? What future awaited Bai Ningbing and me, I don't know. All I could do was pick up the dirty dishes and wash them again and again. The heat of the kitchen, the stuffiness. A small fan that only created a semblance of coolness and thick grease that couldn't be washed off. This became a childhood memory I can't erase. I once asked Bai Ningbing, "There were so many people in that alley. Why did you choose me?" She was a very little girl. She smiled widely at me. She said she'd been watching for a long time, that she'd chosen me specifically. A huge number of people passed by, but she believed that I was a truly kind person. This is so similar to Bai Ningbing. After I was taken in at 14, I had no choice. I used to say I considered myself a truly kind person. In a relationship with a male owner, conflicts were inevitable, but these only happened occasionally. I finally decided to seek justice. My boss condemned me, saying he was more disappointed in me than anyone else. And now, after a while, I no longer had the option of committing suicide. He hired bodyguards to watch my every move. He saw me in this state twice, and then without hesitation, he rushed to help. He finally realized I wasn't bluffing. I genuinely wanted to leave this life. After that, he treated me much better. He even patiently opened up to me along the way. He said, "Even though you made mistakes in the past, Ki Rong is not a petty person. The main thing is just apologize to him. Anyone can go back in time," but I wasn't interested in what he said. I was in a daze the whole time, only when he mentioned Liu Ruyan. I felt a surge of energy. Bai Ningbing was strong and knew her worth, but I don't want to get into her mood swings right now. I only think about Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan loves her very much. I think while I'm using the main character to irritate her. She might kill me because of this very hero. After all, Liu Ruyan is my target, like the sickly girl in this book. She comes from a good family, but she had an unhappy childhood. Rong Yi was the only intelligent and mature man she knew in her youth. Even after growing up and becoming a powerful boss, she saw a lot of people. But she never changed her love for Rong Yi. She waited for the protagonist to finish his game. I decided to commit suicide alone in the sea of life. I woke up when the plot shifted to the second protagonist, Rong Yi. By then, Liu Ruyan had already renounced her love for him. She wanted to tear this love out of her heart in the most difficult days, but her feelings for Rong Yi were hidden and deep. She even agreed to a relationship with another man whom she didn't love to make Rong Yi happy. That man turned out to be me. At the time, Rong Yi thought I was in love with the main character, Shen Yuchu. She constantly drowned her guilt in wine. No matter how much Liu Ruyan consoled her, she was powerless. In the end, Liu Ruyan chose me as her partner. She always contrasted me with her love for Rong Yi. She flaunted it. It's funny that at that time, I thought I'd achieved this myself. Liu Ruyan was touched. I even told the system that all I needed to do was be sincere. They say even the Ice Mountain goddess can be melted. Ice Mountain can indeed be moved, but it doesn't touch me. When Liu Ruyan returned, Bai Ningbing was watching me as I sat in the living room. She was staring at me too intently, and I couldn't help it. I started playing a game for no apparent reason. It was then that rumors began to circulate that the maid was inviting Liu Ruyan back home. The slot machine I was holding fell from my hands. Liu Ruyan's gentle eyes suddenly widened right in front of me. Before I could react, she pushed me to the ground. A bad feeling settled in my throat. She wrapped her arms around my neck. A red nail dug into my skin. I looked up and saw her eyes red with anger. She asked me where I hid Rongyi. I couldn't find anyone and couldn't help but think about it. She really is the boss of the men's team. A troop doesn't just appear. I have to whet the appetites of the people. Perhaps my laughter provoked her, and Liu Ruyan became even more enraged, as if she truly wanted to strangle me. To fuel her hatred, I spoke of this quite openly. Strangle me to death, by then they won't be able to send me back. Liu Ruyan, that scumbag, must be punished by the law. The second half of life. The next second, a loud shout came from the side. Bai Ningbing ran up and pushed Liu Ruyan away from me. She was full of anger. She hugged me protectively. Liu Ruyan, you almost killed him. Liu Ruyan was a little stunned. Look at you. Bai Ningbing raised her head. Her gaze was unmoving. She stood in front of me, shielding me. She said that Bai Ningbing is my fiancé. What happens between us is none of your business. She said that she betrayed Bai Ningbing. She was forbidden to order me to come. I no longer call Liu Ruyan by her given name like I used to. In my previous life, she called me Bai Ningbing. I can't help but protect her even more. She was so angry. You know she's your fiancé. I usually treat her like this. Who allows you to treat her like this? You orchestrated Rongyi's kidnapping. Rongyi had lived and died for a long time. Liu Ruyan was finally enraged by her words. Her refined gaze distorted slightly. Bai Ningbing has remembered you since you first returned to the Bai family. Who took the initiative to keep you company when you weren't used to all this? Who brought you back into this circle, freed you from the outcasts? Rongyi treats you so well. Don't forget to be kind. Bai Ningbing's words fell on deaf ears. When faced with Rongyi's situation, she always gave in easily. But at this moment, after a long silence, she suddenly spoke. Do you have evidence? I asked. Do you have evidence? Bai Ningbing's voice became excited. From start to finish, there's been no evidence that Qi Zia did this. Why are you all targeting him? Hearing this, I couldn't resist pushing her away, so she understood everything. She constantly tries to prove it. But she was so unfair, blaming me for Rongyi's fate. How could she be so careless? She herself had done so much harm to Rongyi. Liu Ruyan's voice sounded too personal. All these years, she'd been setting Rongyi up and taking away what belonged to him. This was a normal thing for her. Rongyi always made big bets and forgave her. Wasn't that enough? Bai Ningbing remained silent as I stood behind her. Listening to their argument, I couldn't help but chuckle. Rongyi had to forgive me. If I weren't there, who would have taken advantage of his status as a great man? I was too impatient and couldn't control my emotions. I wanted to say something that would provoke Liu Ruyan to kill me, and Bai Ningbing understood. I believe him. What? This time I couldn't believe my ears. I believe Qi Zia. I believe he's innocent. Bai Ningbing repeated this as she stood in front of Liu Ruyan. Look us in the eye. Everything is getting more and more complicated. Don't you believe me? I stood behind her and laughed. I opened my mouth, about to admit that I was a bad person. After all, I had proven it so many times. This time I did something different. I said I'd pass by Bai Ningbing and walked out, but she just grabbed my wrist tightly. I turned around. She wasn't looking at me. Her gaze was directed in the opposite direction, at Liu Ruyan. When asked what kind of person would risk their life to prove their innocence, Bai Ningbing replied, "Don't be fooled," she coldly reminded Liu Ruyan. But Liu Ruyan didn't understand. She took it for granted. I, however, had been pondering this question all this time. If a person has been unfairly wronged, they don't fear death. Proving one's innocence in this way is entirely possible. The sadness that lingered in the rain continued to echo in her words. Perhaps she'd experienced this countless times before everyone around her misunderstood her. And sometimes silence is the only way to prove you're right. Liu Ruyan, when you left him before. He jumped off the building right before my eyes. He truly didn't want to live. Beautiful, I understand. Today, Bai Ningbing's gaze isn't directed at me. What is she trying to do? I'm afraid she's figured out that I could have gotten home if I'd jumped off that building earlier. The smile that burst from the depths of her soul seemed, from the outside, like uncontrollable laughter because it signified freedom. I saw Liu Ruyan's hammer cut through the white paper. It seemed a bit transparent to me. I couldn't help but want to smash their skulls. But the next moment, Bai Ningbing was dragged toward the door of Wang Liu's house. She kept saying without thinking, "They don't believe me, but this time I believe you, Qi Zia, come with me." This time I not only shook her but also, meeting her gaze, smiled coldly. I said, "Bai Ningbing, don't pretend to be kind. I don't believe you at all right now." In the end, seeing her standing next to me, I don't even want to think about going home anymore. Liu Ruyan is still angry. Better cheer up. If the operation is successful, maybe I'll be able to return home. She sat in prison and refused to accept my refusal time and again. I thought Bai Ningbing would get angry and would no longer be able to maintain the balance with me that he once did. But she just looked at me silently. Tears gradually appeared in her eyes. "I won't let anything happen to you." Having said this, she turned and left. I turned around and looked at the silent Liu Ruyan. "You have a good relationship with her." Her face is still cold, her eyes filled with frozen rage. It seems she hasn't even noticed. No big deal, after all, I raised her. This is the first time I'm talking about my relationship with Bai Ningbing. All this time, she remained in the shadows, passing by the dark part of the apartment. Bai Jia illuminated her very well. No one knows how she survived. It was the same last time. The world before me was spinning in circles. Liu Ruyan pushed me onto the sofa. Her hand found its way to my neck again. Unlike her earlier roughness, this time she squeezed me very lightly. Even her pose was a bit ambiguous. I opened my eyes and looked at her silently. After a long time, she seemed to compromise. She took a breath and relaxed her hand. Her thumb slowly traced the line of my neck. She touched the bruise, then slowly laid her head on my chest and whispered, "We won't make a mess. Tell me Rongyi's current address, okay?" At one point, I actually saw something human in her eyes. It seemed like only recently, when she held up the engagement ring and asked if I wanted to marry her. A deep feeling was reflected in my eyes. Then she said, "No matter what happened in the past, the main thing is that everything will be good in the future. We'll be happy if you don't do anything bad." I already understood what she meant. She was pursuing me. I was only interested in her for the sake of Rongyi's happiness, but I still felt humiliated because of this mission. I took the ring she had given me, a gift intended for another man. The ring was in my hand. Liu Ruyan smiled with the authority of a rich man. Even in the neon lights of the crowd, she kissed me with deep tenderness. However, the next moment she was called away by a report of an accident involving Rongyi. Now I look at her face again and slowly smile. Liu Ruyan's eyes lit up and a miracle appeared in the rain. She said, "Zia, behave yourself, okay? I can stop this talk. The main thing is that you don't harm Rongyi anymore. We can continue to be happy." The next moment her words were interrupted by my voice. "How can there be anything good? Liu Ruyan, do you think you're in a harem? You want me to be at peace with him? If you can, kill me. Don't think I wouldn't dare." Her voice trailed off. "Come on, or my life will become yours like your grandson's." My harsh words escaped my lips, but soon after, I was plunged into darkness. During this time, while I was in a coma, the system reminded me to speed up my actions. I had very little time left to escape this world. When I woke up, my head was a complete mess. Warm palms constantly touch me. Sometimes I feel gentle kisses. I think it's just an illusion. I bullied Liu Ruyan for 7 years, dated her for 5 years, and she, by the way, kissed my poor finger. You can count how much is left on the fingers of one hand, but this illusion is becoming more and more real. I can even hear her voice with helpless anxiety. I want these words to ring in my ears. She said, "Zia, what should I do with you? I can't stand this anymore." The moment I opened my eyes, in Liu Ruyan's eyes, I was right. I couldn't fix it. At that moment, I was slightly mistaken. In front of me, Liu Ruyan was always calm and composed. I rarely see her eyes, sad, depressed, full of unbearable pain. Many emotions are intertwined in them. She looked so unfamiliar, alien. It lasted less than 2 seconds. Soon her expression became even again. "Tell me, where is Rongyi?" She seemed oblivious to the specks of dust around her, but she didn't bother to finish the syringe. Seeing my eyes closed, she began with a very gentle introduction. "In high circles, this is commonplace. 1 milliliter turns into 10 million. After all, this could cause a person to suffer and die within 3 minutes. And the official reason for the medical examination would be listed as heart attack." I laughed. Liu Ruyan thought I finally wanted to leave. The smell inside the building became unbearable and Xuan Jai was shocked. I held her hand, which held the syringe, and under her dumbfounded gaze, I stabbed the needle into my neck. Liu Ruyan, I'll tell you a secret. When I was completely confused, I looked into Liu Ruyan's eyes and said, I was kind to you before because I loved you. I know, she hugged me and then screamed for a doctor. I leaned against her shoulder. And I finished the rest. I said I loved her, but she never believed me, so forget about it. Liu Ruyan, I can't bear to live in the same world with you. After saying this, I pushed her away. I fell from her embrace. The process of falling seemed endless, drawn out in time. I clearly saw the confusion and sadness on her face. Will Liu Ruyan sympathize with me? I don't care. I think I'm finally going home. Zia. As if in a trance, I heard the doorbell ring. A familiar voice rang out. It was my sister from the Lin family who had cared for me since childhood, and next to her was the heroine of this book, Shen Yuchu. I heard her footsteps and a sudden silence. It was easy to guess that this was the work of an old enemy of the wrong family. What are you talking about? Liu Ruyan asked, her voice trembling. My answers were becoming less and less sincere. The story becomes so simple, I feel my soul floating in the air. My parents' smiles, expressing tender love, were already waiting for me. I simply reached out to embrace them. But I was thrown back by a huge force. I opened my eyes again, the white ceiling of the hospital. You wake up and a gentle girl comes up to you from the side. I turned my head and met Shen Yuchu's gaze. He was wearing a kippao and his eyes were covered with a silver eye patch. As the book's heroine, she didn't need to be modest. She had a calm and noble disposition. But now I don't care about anything anymore. There's only one question in my heart. Why am I still alive? Her voice was filled with endless disappointment. Shen Yuchu sliced an apple for me. After a long moment, she sighed. She put down the knife, came over to help me straighten the blanket, and looked at me with a soft gaze. I've already explained everything to them. Liu Ruyan was too embarrassed to come. They all feel sorry for her. There's no point in thinking about it too much. She touched my head. But where is my sister? I asked, sitting under the blanket. Seeing her actions, I couldn't help but fake a smile. I said, Sister, your boyfriend is misleading others. That means I'm the killer. Should he be angry at me in front of everyone? Shen Yuchu remained silent. This time, she didn't answer me. Shen Yuchu has always been the most conservative person in this world. At least, that's how it seemed. When I was a child, my parents in this world. They didn't die in the car accident. Our families were neighbors at the time. Shen Yuchu's parents were busy with research and never had time for their daughter. My parents were full of enthusiasm. They saw that the girl was feeling lonely and always invited her home to play. Later, our home became her second home. She ate with us almost every day. My parents bought us gifts, cooked meals, and there was always a table set in my guest room. I left a small crib for Shen Yuchu. On those nights when she was alone and afraid to sleep, she spent it at our house. Shen Yuchu also often showed initiative and helped me with my homework. She inherited her parents' extremely high IQ. Under her guidance, my grades were simply excellent. Eventually, due to my parents' death, I was released early. It was a perfectly ordinary summer, a stormy night. Shen Yuchu's parents. My parents suddenly got a call. They said Shen Yuchu was missing. The teachers said she used to smile after class, but now no one was answering the phone at home. We're busy with research right now. We can't leave. Please help us find Zia Hai. When my parents received this call, I lay by the window and watched the storm. I was worried about the downpour. My mother also advised my father not to leave. It's not safe to go outside in this weather, but they couldn't refuse. After all, they'd seen the elements raging. A heavy downpour caused the parents' car to accidentally fall into the river. They were discovered only the next day, but the entire night passed in a blur. At this time, Shen Yuchu, wearing brand new clothes, was looking at her phone, waiting for news from home. Afterwards, I asked Shen Yuchu, "What did you do that night?" She was silent for a long time. Finally, she told me. That night, she sent the boy home, who was already walking. Shen Yuchu accompanied him for a long time to the famous seniors' quarter. Just as she was about to return, a heavy rain began. The downpour was so powerful that she couldn't bear it. A boy helped her. He welcomed her with great enthusiasm and invited her to stay. The next day, the boy's driver came to pick her up. Everything became clear. After hearing this story, I asked, "Since you decided not to go home, why didn't you call us?" She knew my parents' phone number. She knew they would be worried. Why didn't she answer? Shen Yuchu didn't know how to respond. She could only bow her head and apologize. Her parents later took her home. My relatives took me to a poor neighborhood. A long time passed. When I came to, I finally knew the answers to all my questions. That little boy who was sent home that day. It was Rong Yi, the center of attraction for all femme fatales. It all started so early, when my parents were in the rain. While Shen Yuchu was struggling to cross the river to escape the downpour, Rong Yi, shouting her name, took her hand and proudly showed off his rescue to everyone. This charming and elegant toy, Shen Yuchu, at such a young age, was overwhelmed by everything new. She quickly forgot much of what had come before. By the time she remembered, my parents were forever stuck in the cold river because of her. Our family should have been with us that day. And then she left Shen Yuchu's world, leaving her alone to grieve. Finally, in the gentle company of the protagonist, gradually, I woke up and found myself back in their world. At that time, in an attempt to get closer to the main character, I enrolled in their high school. But I didn't want to have any casual encounters with Shen Yuchu. After all these years, she still called herself my sister. She was full of pretentious affection. However, in public, she never showed me any kindness. This girl dreamed of staying by my side to make amends. But she forgot that we weren't related by blood, that we weren't really related. She was too close a friend, someone who knew boundaries but didn't respect them. In her eyes, everything looked different. Rong Yi still hated me. After experiencing ambiguous behavior in their youth, the main characters began discussing their secrets, but because of me, they grew distant. Shen Yuchu paid too much attention to me. Rong Yi couldn't control his jealousy and targeted me, even though I explained and told him everything. I don't need to be as smug as Shen Yuchu, but nothing has changed. So when Rong Yi found out I liked Liu Ruyan, he deliberately tried to separate us. He also turned Liu Ruyan against me. How much attention did Shen Yuchu pay to me? He asked Liu Ruyan to keep an eye on me, but Rong Yi likes Liu Ruyan. Rong Yi likes Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu is pursuing me to make amends with my parents, and I want to save Liu Ruyan. The circle is complete. Rong Yi couldn't bear it anymore. I had become a thorn in his side. I didn't want to ruin the good impression Shen Yuchu had once made on me. I began to withdraw into myself more and more. I used every means to feel alone. I was excluded from their circle. He is a man. He only needs to lift a finger and the entire Rong family will rush to help. But I only have myself and my inner world. Why is a person a system? After all, I became a celebrity in narrow circles. He gradually distanced himself from himself. I am a generous person. This time, Rong Yi set up my friend to kidnap him. Shen Yuchu doesn't know what method he used, but let him admit it was the Rong family's doing. I don't know how many secrets people are hiding from me, so I changed the question to, what if I say that I can only live with Rong Yi? Azia, stop talking nonsense. Whenever he called me, he always had a mask on his face. She looked at me almost with tears in her eyes. Tell me, sister, what do you want? I will do everything for you. I leaned back in my chair in my room, unable to bear this farce. Then you killed me, I said. Shen Yuchu was silent for a few seconds. I replied that this was unacceptable. Except for this incident, everything else was fine. I demanded that Rong Yi come and apologize. In any case, if you don't kill me, I will definitely kill him. Azia, listen to me. I'm constantly targeting my lover. Shen Yuchu, who had always been cold in his support of me, also began to get angry. This only intensified his anger. Rong Yi has done so many bad things in the past. It's all my fault, you can hate me. The next second he was determined. He raised his head. His face turned pale. It was too late to make excuses. But you knew all this, I laughed. His heart seemed to stop. Zia, he was in a panic. What do you mean? But the words stuck in his throat. Of course, he couldn't say anything. He couldn't justify the times I'd been treated unfairly. He knew the truth behind my cold eyes. Rong Yi had accused me of stealing his business card. I took the initiative and opened my bag to prove otherwise. I pulled out the surveillance certificate. There are still people who inexplicably. They offered me a deal and sold me the management. They even forged the protocol and transferred my library card from the library I'd deposited money into in advance. I'm not lying, I read the school newspaper with the thief's name. You knew all about it. Shen Yuchu, I laughed and cried at the same time. This time I'm truly disappointed. Parents in heaven. If you knew that you had sacrificed your life for people like this before, how would you feel? Shen Yuchu, my sister. I've been there a few times. Gradually I pushed her to the edge, when they insulted me thinking I'd been caught stealing. I used to look at that angry man, swearing I'd uncover the truth myself, but I can't fight those who stir up trouble. They're close to the entire family's power, easy to get around. But every time I try to explain myself, an even deeper trap awaits. I can only watch, observe the misunderstandings that bind me. If only you could stand up for me and explain everything. They don't believe me, they should believe you. Your boyfriend is a man, aren't I a man? Do I really have to endure this? I watched as Shen Yuchu said this. Her hands trembled, she wanted to come closer. As usual, she wanted to touch my head, but I responded in kind. Shen Yuchu, who do you trust? I laughed in her face. But I couldn't hold back my tears. Don't say that, please don't say that, she coughed, her whole body shaking. It was as if she was in great pain, but I couldn't hear her. Keep talking. Do you want to compensate me with external attributes? To numb your guilt and protect Rongyi in the darkness, you want both, but you can't take care of both at the same time. I've been falling in love with you for 8 lifetimes before I met someone like you. Suddenly, Shen Yuchu stood up and slapped me across the face. Her gaze was shocked. 5 finger marks were imprinted on Bai Zai's face. She moved her lips, turning white with horror. Finally, this proud woman bowed her head before me. She knelt on the cold hospital floor, her voice breaking into a hoarse rasp. She tried to convince me that my sister was wrong and that I was demanding the impossible from Azia. She didn't care whether it was me or Zhangyi. She saw me only as an object of her desires. Tears streamed from his eyes. He looked up at me, his head bowed, his brittle hair only emphasizing his despair. What should I do? How can I forgive myself? Zia, I beg you, my aunt and uncle are dead, he whispered tearfully. He insisted he simply wanted me to live well. His hand, trembling, reached for my clothes, a nervous reaction born of his profound psychological distress. Whenever he touched on painful memories, he lost control of himself. I, however, only slowly retreated. I looked down at him, feeling no pity. Shen Yuchu, I'm not a fool, I said coldly. I have no intention of making amends to you. When I turned and left the room, he was left alone, as if he had fallen into an abyss. He was breathing heavily, trying to find peace, but in vain. The same sickly blush on his pale face. He was close to suffocation, but even when I was leaving, he tried to call out to me, Zia. He managed a pitiful smile with difficulty. I won't forgive my sister, don't even think I'll give in to her. A loud cry came from behind the door, followed by the sounds of a struggle. It was Bai Ningbing, who had heard everything. He loomed over Shen Yuchu, tears of anger welling in his red eyes. The crowd around him also trembled with tension. How dare you let Brother Zia forgive you? I'd rather kill him myself. Do you have any conscience? I gave Brother Zia to you, he shouted. You treated him like that? I'm sorry, Shen Yuchu whispered before losing consciousness. Bai Ningbing simply turned away, unwilling to look at him. I clenched my fists involuntarily. You were all scum. I trusted you and you treated her so cruelly. I'm also to blame, the young woman sobbed, covering her face with her hands and sobbing out loud. I was wrong, I shouldn't have believed it. You suffered so many years because of injustice, and I'm truly sorry. She cried so hard that her words lost their meaning. Eventually, doctors took Shen Yuchu to the intensive care unit. Bai Ningbing remained in the room. He looked straight at me, not moving. Brother Zia, he called quietly. Will you come with me? Liu Ruyan is treating you like this. If you stay with her, you'll die. Please take this as my plea. His clear face was filled with a mixture of pleading and love for me. But I didn't care. When the bodyguard came for me, I couldn't even look back at him. Why? You always loved me more than anyone, he said, his voice trembling as he turned back to me. Why do you only see Liu Ruyan? We were the closest people, weren't we? The closest people? I couldn't help but laugh. Remembering how you called me despicable and spiteful, I realized you never considered us close. You're no better than Liu Ruyan, just as disgusting. I left that flawless girl behind and walked away without looking back. I don't know what happened in that room. Liu Ruyan knew too much, but from that day on, she disappeared from my life. Perhaps she didn't know how to live with it or couldn't accept the truth. Her white moonlight had long since faded and she ran away just to see me. Only thoughts of death came to mind. Jumping from a building, being bitten by a snake, endless attempts to commit suicide in the bathtub. It all failed. The Liu family watched my every move. The nanny cried, begging Liu Ruyan to come back and talk to me. Madam, please go back to him. It seemed like the teacher was about to break down. Liu Ruyan never came. This house contained everything that could destroy me and things that reminded me of the dead. Everything dangerous was removed, the windows were boarded up. When I recovered, I tried to smash my head against the wall, hoping for help from Liu Ruyan's ancestors. Liu Ruyan wasn't angry. She started hinting to the maid not to go to the workshop and showered me with gifts, ties, car keys, expensive watches. Every day new gifts were brought to my bed. I insisted on throwing them away, but she kept sending them. Sometimes I woke up early, and I saw her sneaking out of my room. That's how my relationship with Liu Ruyan continued, while the system insistently demanded that we hurry. I told her it was pointless. Someone couldn't bear it anyway. And the first was Bai Ningbing. He'd repeatedly broken into the Liu family home, trying to take me away. The elders of the Bai family were shocked by his antics. He threatened them with violence, demanding that they snatch me from Liu Ruyan's clutches. Liu Ruyan was in control, but she betrayed no one. The two families found themselves on opposite sides of the fence, and chaos was inevitable. In the end, Bai Ningbing, sobbing, threw in Liu Ruyan's face. If I hadn't been taken away, Ziada would never have become yours. But I didn't want to be saved like a trophy. This was what infuriated Liu Ruyan the most that night. Suddenly, I felt the warmth of her body and the smell of strong wine. Opening my eyes, I saw Liu Ruyan. Her face was frozen in an expression of hurt and fear I'd never seen before, like an abandoned puppy's. She grabbed my hand tightly. I looked at her red mask and she whispered, "I stole your love." There was a fleeting sadness in her voice and a confession, "I don't appreciate." It's not that I don't appreciate it, I just don't know how to live with it. Liu Ruyan, I'm not your husband. You left yourself at the beginning of our engagement. So I'm not even your fiancé. She was shocked by my words and her body went limp with devastation. The sins of the past were gradually forgotten and she seemed to become purer, but then she again chose to pretend to be drunk. Pretend you still love me. No, my Azia loves me more than anyone. He will be my only husband, she said, and I just looked at her silently. I interrupted her. Years have passed, Liu Ruyan. Playing these games is no longer interesting. You have to be as persistent as before so that I can at least look down on you. Liu Ruyan slammed her fist into the pillow next to me in anger. In the soft lamplight, her face seemed tender and fragile. I looked into her eyes for a long time. What should I do? I felt like nothing more than an instrument. My parents saw me as nothing more than an object. If it weren't for their thoughtful support, I would have died long ago. What do you want from me? She asked, her voice filled with desperation. She took a step toward the solution she had found. I'll accept it eventually. You've made too many mistakes. But it's okay, Zia. I don't blame you anymore. She's just crazy. I watched her tear through the pain and said yes. She seemed so innocent in her suffering. It was even kind of good. Why don't you marry her? Don't you really want to, Liu Ruyan? You realized it yourself, how stupid you are. I snapped at her. No wonder Rongyi doesn't love you. You don't deserve anyone's love. I was blind before, but now, just shut up. I don't know what exactly got her so worked up. She showed uncharacteristic stubbornness and pushed me, then grabbed my throat with both hands. You promised to be kind. You promised to be there, she screamed, looking into my eyes with a despair that was chilling. What are you looking at? Didn't you love me more than anyone? Why don't I feel your love anymore? She was on the verge of madness. There was a helpless fear in her voice I'd never seen before. Tears blurred her vision, but she continued to peer into me, searching for that affection from the past. Her mask irritated me, causing me to blush involuntarily, but I only forced a smile. Yes, that's how it was. She was strangling me, trying to squeeze the life out of me while I only watched with amusement. Just before I nearly lost consciousness, she suddenly stepped back as if coming to her senses. She shook my hand sharply. Are you trying to make me angry? You'd rather die than stay with me, she spat, turning to outright threats. It was her way of keeping me. She looked as if she were in a hurry. She bent over and coughed, then turned around and tried to calm herself. You still love me, Azia. You're just angry, right? I'll make you happy, she insisted. She promised to hold me tightly. Let's get married. We'll be happy, just the two of us, without anyone else. Just us in the future. Her voice rang with sobs. Tears wet my shoulder. I pushed her away in disgust. She got hit for it, but she didn't let up, wanting to take her anger out on me. I coldly interrupted her stream of foul language, and she got a slap. Finally, she stood up silently, picked up her coat, and reaching the door, suddenly laughed bitterly at herself. You accuse me of being biased against Rongyi, but you think you're a saint yourself. Shen Yuchu is currently fighting for you and the Rong family. Bai Ningbing is also on your side. You dare say they're nothing? You're right. They treat me so well that I should abandon you and choose them. I burst out laughing at her back. Liu Ruyan felt the sting of my laughter. She lost control and ran out of the room. The next day, another man appeared. It was Rong Yi. He said Liu Ruyan had sought him out to explain our relationship. She was impeccable in a business suit and high heels. She smiled but sat down and sighed heavily. I'm also very busy with Jan. She was clearly enjoying her company, but I simply ignored her, staring at her tie. My soul was empty, but I began to undress. Her smile grew wider as she watched. Actually, you shouldn't be so upset. Despite your reputation, Yuchu begged me for you. I must say, she truly values you. She spoke of this with grace, carefully observing my reaction. Then she mentioned Bai Ningbing, who had just been sent back to the Song family. She talks about her brother every day, wants to return to him. The head of the Song family didn't allow it, telling her to wait until she comes of age. Then he will appear before his brother, and he will be happy to see him again. But from then on, he no longer spoke his name. The reason was obvious, one only had to look closely. In his eyes, he'd once been the perfect brother. Now he'd become an ordinary man, down to earth. He said this easily, smiling slightly. His gaze was fixed on my face. He was eager to see my dejection, but he didn't get it. I only smiled in response. Bai Ningbing is good. If he, like Shen Yuchu, starts selling counterfeit goods to your company, it will be even better. Rong Yi's face instantly turned cold. The Rong family had been destroyed. Prove to me that this is the real compensation I demanded from Shen Yuchu last time. In recent years, the Rong family has grown into a tech giant. Almost half of the family has invested in new product development. But on the day of the presentation, Shen Yuchu's research results were refuted, and information about them was erased from the archives. He practically cut off the financial oxygen supply to the Rong family. Even so, young Master Rong hesitated to call the police. But when he turned around, he found me. I couldn't wait to hear his pleas. Suddenly, he grabbed a glass from the table and smashed it. In the void left by Rong Yi's retreat, I walked up to him, grabbed him by the tie, and began to strangle him. Young master, you are in my hands now, I whispered right in his ear. Under the bridge, you will never forgive me. At that moment he froze, but when his gaze, full of jealousy, switched to the white eyes, he began to struggle desperately. When Liu Ruyan burst in with the guards, the light illuminated me at that very moment. For a moment I saw a strange smile on his face. What did it mean? I finally realized the scale of my crime. I was still happy, contemplating this white moonlight. Let him return to the past, stand at the pinnacle of morality, and punish me. Wang Xuan, you've been pretending this whole time. You haven't changed your mind. I didn't see anything wrong with you. When his face contorted in horror, I loosened my grip a little. I can fight alongside Master Rong. I can help you. I don't trust you. You just want to prove your worth. We can make a bet. He was afraid I wouldn't agree, crying and laughing at the same time. I frowned, listening to his whisper. Finally, I smiled and let him go. Liu Ruyan ran up first and pulled him away, still trembling slightly. I was about to send her to the hospital. As she was leaving, she turned and looked at me. I hope you can figure out how to apologize. Rong Yi had his own way of dealing with Liu Ruyan after he returned from the hospital. He withdrew all charges. I was just kidding, I told her. I don't really want to go anywhere. The more I did this, the more I repeated the same mistakes. I was only trying to get her attention, but Liu Ruyan's face grew darker and darker. Rong Yi was right, I was still too impulsive with her. You really need a lesson, I snapped at her. To this day, I can't help but ask myself the question that haunts me. Have you ever truly believed in me? Her reaction made me wary. It seemed she remembered everything I had done for her in the past, all the sincere care she had ignored for so long. But what did this mean compared to the golden ideals of her youth? Azia, love is a burden, she said. There's no point in playing like that. There were people around us, but I remained silent. Turning around, I saw Rong Yi in the darkness. When I opened my eyes, Rong Yi and I were tied to the edge of a cliff. Liu Ruyan, Bai Ningbing, and a group of guests were watching us. Let her go, and I'll let you go. Do you hear me? Bai Ningbing shouted, trying to break through to us. He lunged forward several times, but was stopped. The kidnappers ignored him, their gaze fixed solely on Liu Ruyan. Choose President Liu. Who lives and who dies depends solely on your decision, came the ultimatum. Liu Ruyan's face instantly paled. How much money do you need? I'll give it all. Let them go. We don't need money. We want you, President Liu, to get rid of your favorites. She froze. Liu Ruyan's gaze lingered for a moment on the wound on my forehead, a mixture of truth and lies. Rong Yi, held captive by the fierce man, became enraged. It seemed he was about to fall off the cliff, and the people around him began to fuss. The air was thick with Liu Ruyan's killing intent. Rong Yi glanced at me sideways, a hidden smile playing on his lips. "You've lost again. Aren't you afraid the truth will come out? You're just deceiving yourself," he chuckled. The Rong family was already here. "They won't know anything, years have passed," I replied, not taking my eyes off him. The smile grew wider. The man behind him was hired by me to push him over the edge. "I'm just helping you make a decision," I said. Rong Yi cried out desperately, calling for Liu Ruyan, but she clenched her fists, warning the traitors. She didn't let go, but time was running out. Finally, Liu Ruyan's hands loosened. She looked at me with pain. "Azia, was this your plan? Don't make me choose. You want to prove who's more important to me, right?" she shouted. I just smiled bitterly. I've allowed myself to be humiliated and make the same mistake for too long. But this time, Liu Ruyan chose Rong Yi. There was a deathly silence all around. "I was wrong from the start. I should never have let you give in and abandon that thing," she said. I gently shook my head and looked at them calmly. "Liu Ruyan, this is already the 101st time. You chose her again. I truly loved you. If you had believed me just once, everything would have been different." I saw her panic rising and gathered my courage. Turning my gaze to Rong Yi, I added, "Perhaps there's something you don't know. I've prepared a gift for you." I pointed to the hidden camera on my shirt. "Everything you said and did was just broadcast. I wanted to go home. I didn't want to leave behind a legacy and be branded a thief after my death." At first, I was kind to everyone, but now Rong Yi's heart was filled with panic. An idea occurred to her. She tried to fabricate evidence against the Rong family. She wanted to disrupt the broadcast, but in her opinion, it was already over. But people around them were already looking at their phones. The internet was buzzing with discussion. The crown prince of the Rong family had been exposed. Rong Yi's name quickly spread online, with people using the livestream recording as irrefutable evidence. Her false accusations and provocations against me were clearly audible on the video. I looked at Liu Ruyan. She was in shock. I took out my phone. Rong Yi finally lost consciousness. It was too late to change anything. Liu Ruyan's gaze was full of rage. Her face was paler than chalk. Rong Yi's false accusations fell apart, and I finally ended my 4-week game. I found that sweet and spoiled girl. Shen Yuchu didn't show up, but I was still worried about him. He helped me, even provided me with a camera. Now they will be forever at each other's throats in that same abyss. My body weakened. I fell off the cliff, closing my eyes. Behind me, I heard screams and crying. I don't know whose voices those were, Liu Ruyan's or Bai Ningbing's, but I was heartless. At the moment of falling into the sea's depths, my soul finally became empty. I saw Liu Ruyan kneeling at the edge of the abyss, sobbing as she fell to the ground, and I merely licked a drop of blood from her lips. I wanted to rush to the cliff, but at the last moment the Bai family appeared. Shen Yuchu held the remote control. A popular search query related to me flashed on the screen. She had a fresh wound on her wrist. She stared out the window, stunned. After a while, she quietly whispered, "Zia, you should hate me. No problem, I'll avenge you. I won't even spare myself when we meet again. I will treat you better." Shortly before leaving this world, I heard the electronic sound of the system. Goal achieved. I hope the owner can move on with his life. Mission accomplished. The award has been presented. When I woke up, I saw my mother holding my hand. "Zia, it's a miracle. The doctor said the illness went away overnight." I couldn't hold back my tears as I hugged my parents. It was incredible. I was finally back home.